Hello and welcome. In this review video we will take a closer look at the Gomez Sim Industries Formula Pro Elite. Before we dive into it, we will take a closer look at my test scheme. During this review we will highlight the following sections. We will take a closer look at order and delivery. We will examine the wheel itself. Then we get a focus on the shifter and the dual clutch. We will have a look at the buttons and the layout of the wheel in detail. And for sure, once you own the wheel, maintenance is a topic. And last but not least, we will take a very closer look at the fun factor of this piece of hardware. But let's start with the order and delivery process. To me, the order and delivery process is one essential part of the whole user experience. So once you are on the website of Gomez Sim Industries and you click on shop, you will see all the wheels and all the products that are available for purchase. And also for those who own the wheel, you can retrofit to the latest technology by selecting the new shifters or the dual clutch, or even buy a pair of screws to mount your wheel properly. But how does it start? So first of all, you need to opt for the Formula Pro Elite wheel, which is the wheel with the LEDs and the screen, or you go for the GXL Pro, which doesn't have the USB screen. And then you have a kind of a configurator. You can select the dual clutch, you can select standard or touch screen, and what kind of pedals you want to have for the shifters. That was my choice, let's say. So I opted in for a dual clutch Formula Pro Elite with a standard screen and carbon fiber pedals. And this is the fun part of it, you can customize the wheel on the Gomez page. But lead times are 6 to 8 weeks, so it might make sense to take a closer look at your local distributor if they have some models available for instant purchase. For all the people in Germany, I can recommend the SimRace shop, and within the SimRace shop you will find some other models that you cannot find on the Gomez homepage, like the special edition of Densu that is in his color scheme, and you can select the one without the clutch or with the clutch. But we will talk about that a little bit later because GSI is offering you to retrofit some of the latest technology, even if your wheel didn't come with it initially. So before delivery, there is the assembly process, and this is maybe one of the most interesting parts here, because in the Twitch stream, if you are lucky, you can watch your own wheel being built by Gomez. So the wheels from the distributors are built by the other people in the background, and the web shop purchase orders are being built live during the stream. And to me, this is kind of unique because we're talking about a piece of hardware that has its price for sure, and we will take a closer look later on in the other sections there as well. But what you get is a very high level of customization. That means you can select the design of your wheel, and you are in command of how the wheel should look like so that it fits your need. Up until now, you cannot find this level of detail with the other hardware vendors. So they are not offering that kind of close interaction. And if you have some time, just visit the Twitch stream or the Discord of GSI, because it's really fun to hang out there and to exchange some information with peers all around the globe, because they all love sim racing, and this is really lovely there. So This makes it a little bit easy to wait for your build. As I said, we have a couple of weeks of lead time, 6 to 8 weeks. And once you are there, the wheel is being built, you can take a closer look at what happens next. Once the assembly is finalized and finished, it will ship to you via express. For international customers, GSI is offering a shipping flat rate. That means you pay $100 for express sending of your parcel. And within 3 working days, it went all the way with all the custom procedures and stuff like that from the United States to Germany. And I was able to get the parcel. So it's not that complicated, but if you would like to avoid all the customs procedures as well, go to your local distributors and purchase the wheel there. So then the package arrived, and sorry for not delivering you the real unboxing feeling, because I was very keen to grab the wheel and mount it to my wheelbase to start racing. But this is how it looks. So you have the wheel covered in this electrostatic bag, and then excuse me, it's a little bit something that should not be in there. It's the quick mount of my wheelbase and the bag from the cable, and you see another bag with all the stickers. My wheel was a custom designed wheel. That means I ordered the customization, and with the customization you get access to all the stickers, and due to the minimum order quantity, you just receive a lot of labels with the wheel. I do not know if I will ever use them, but it's good that they are there and they are part of the delivery. So all in all, it was really nice to see what happens there. There were some bags of screws with it, so they are sending captive screws with every FPE that is being shipped. And it's maybe even worth to mention that all the contact with the GSI team was really lovely. You just have the feeling that they love sim racing as we do. So taking a closer look at the benchmark for the Formula Pro Elite in the point order and delivery, I just give 5 out of 5 racing hearts, because there is not much that you can do better in the order and delivery process itself. For sure, lead time is an issue, but there's always a very clear communication of what to expect, and this is all we need. But let's now take a closer look at the Formula Pro Elite wheel. So here we see the graphics of the wheel, and the width of the wheel is 310 millimeters, which is a bit larger and a bit wider than normal wheels. So the Formula wheels normally have 280 millimeters, or for example the Cube Controls GT Pro Zero has 300 millimeters of width. So it's a little bit more present. So the height of the Formula Pro Elite is at its highest and largest section 180 millimeters. And maybe also worth to mention that the diameter of the grip is 140 millimeters. And compared, for example, to the Cube Control GT Pro Zero, which is also a big wheel, it's nearly 2 centimeters more in the diameter, and it feels really nice in your hand. But now to some live footage of the wheel. So if you take it out of the bubble bag, you will have the wheel in its full presence for the first time in front of you, and it's really, really impressive. To see your design for the first time is really lovely. You see all the buttons with the custom labels, you see the LED shifting lights, you see the USB 480 screen, and the buttons, if you press them, they have a very soft but very precise click. It's maybe different compared to what other vendors are using, but really in a positive way. And if you hold the wheel the first time in your hands, you really feel how massive it is, how sturdy it is. and you have a pretty nice feel of the rotary buttons. It's not that hard to turn them, but you can control them nicely, and they have an integrated push button as well, so you can use that for other features and functions. And the USB screen, you all may know it, and the LED shifting lights, they will be powered via the SimHub software, and we take a closer look later on. At the back of the wheel you see the carbon shifters, the V2 version of it, the dual clutch, and I have mounted already the GSI hub and my SimiCube quick mount to the wheel, and you see the cable, USB cable. But let's jump directly into the game, how the wheel looks like when everything is set up, and if you use the wheel for the first time with the SimHub software and the correct profiles, so you see it matches automatically the look and feel of the car directly to your wheel, which gives you a lot of immersion for sim racing. That means for every car that you select, for example in iRacing, you will have the proper LED behavior and the shifting light behavior, which allows you to feel a little bit more that you are a virtual racing car driver. It's not a problem at all to race this wheel with racing gloves. It's not a problem if you do not like to use gloves, but I would recommend them. And you see here in its full and finest version the SimHub dashboard. You can opt in for the original dashboard of the car, or you select a generic one from GSI, which is perfectly fitting to all of the race cars and delivers all the information you would need. You will have to get used to the new dimensions of the wheel, but I can promise you after a day or two you are used to it. So if we take a closer look at the results for the section wheel, I will give the wheel 5 out of 5 racing hearts, because it's really a pleasure to grab it, to use it. It's sturdy, massive, and it feels just right in the palm of your hands, and it contributes to the sim race feeling you want to have. So all expectations have been fulfilled here. But let's take a closer look at the shifters in the V2 version and the dual clutch on the wheel. So the shifters have a very crisp and precise shifting feel. The dual clutch itself has a good movement of the pedals, and you can easily control them. With the GSI wheel, you have the software to calibrate the dual clutch, and then you can automatically define your desired bite point so that you have rocket starts in your sim racing. Really cool. But we will have to talk about the loudness of the shifters. And here is one video. So the shifters itself, they have a very precise feeling, and maybe they are the best shifters out there. I love them. But if you are using the wheel in an environment where your neighbor is next to door, then the loudness of the wheel and the shifters might be a problem. So it's worth to mention that. And because of the downgrading of the loudness from the Cube controls that has 86 dB, we will have to do the same here. Even I really love the V2 shifters because they give you a very precise feel by the shifting. In the buttons and layout section, we will have a closer look at the wheel itself. And you saw maybe even a lot of the features before, but it's worth to highlight them here again. So we do have the LED stripes, the shifting lights that we can configure in the SimHub software. We do have the USB 480 screen that displays all the dashboards you want to display. And then you have the rotary knobs that have a nice feel. It's not too sturdy, but also not too soft. And they have a push button integrated, and the normal buttons on the left hand side and on the right hand side. These are the same layouts and you can reach them quite easily while racing. And remember, with the customization that you can purchase on the website, you can make this wheel unique to your desires and to your needs, which is really, really cool. So as I said before, the buttons itself, if you press the buttons, they have a very good, let's say, tactile feel, at least to my opinion. And you can use the layout in this way. You can reach all the buttons nicely, so it will support you while racing. So the layout of the wheel itself is that it's really nice to have it in your hands, and it gives you a real race car feeling, at least to my imagination. And the rotaries, they are not too crispy, and the let's say the way how you have to dial them, you do not need that much of force, but it's okay. Yes, so I get along with it because I do not like while racing to somehow do something strange there. The screen is really cool to have, and the LED shifters at the moment, I really love them. Maybe this will change, but you can deactivate them once it's not needed. The layout at the back, worth to mention that we have a very stable USB cable with a metal housing that should, let's say, get rid of all the pain you have in this section. So for the buttons and the layout of the wheel itself, you will get 5 out of 5 racing hearts from me, because this wheel is really nearly optimum to what I would expect in a racing wheel and in a race car wheel. So I know it has its price, but you get a lot back in return, and you can use the wheel, and you can be the sim racer you always want to be. But also worth to mention is, once you own the wheel, that you have a little bit of maintenance tasks. For example, lubing the shifters and the dual clutch, because these are mechanical parts, and from time to time it might make sense to lube them a little bit. I will show you some pictures before. But what I like the most is, maybe you have an old wheel and you do not have the latest version of the shifters, then you can retrofit the new technology to your existing wheel. And this somehow is relative in terms of pricing, because you can always stay up to date. So this is my picture of the operation lubing my shifters. So if they are starting to make some noises, you can just apply a little bit of lube onto them, and you do not have to flood the shifters with the oil, but you can just put some little points onto it, and you will see they will be soft as hell. So for the maintenance, because you can do a lot of stuff, because you are not stuck to the version you see here, you can retrofit some of the new and latest gadgets into your wheel, and this helps you to be up to date with the latest technology, which is also a part because you pay a high price for this wheel. So here you have 5 out of 5 racing hearts. But let's come now to the maybe most important section, the fun factor while using this wheel. You see here, I'm at my sim rig on the racetrack in iRacing. It's a Spielberg track in a GT3 car. It's the Mercedes AMG GT3. And you see the wheel is mirroring, thanks to the LED profile from the community and to the SimHub software, the shifting lights behavior onto the wheel. You have the little nice dashboard always visible, and the feel of the wheel is really, really lovely. I have personally the feeling that I can control the car a little bit better. For sure, I have big hands, so it helps and supports me. So I'm not the fan of this little tiny wheels, for example, like the Fanatec Formula V 2.5. 28 centimeters is a little bit too narrow for me, and here I have somehow the feeling that this is perfectly right. And it really feels right, and I can see it in the lap times. At least for my personal usage, I have some of the corners I couldn't control the car quite nicely, even in the Spielberg track. But with the new wheel, for example, the second hairpin, I have the feeling that I have a little bit more control about my race car, and it makes lots of fun to drive the wheel around the racetracks. But you have to be prepared once you start using the wheel that you will probably take a little bit of time to get used to the dimensions. So initially I thought, wow, this is a big wheel, but after 1 or 2 days of training, it feels more and more familiar, and after a while you surely have the feeling, hey, how could I live without that wheel so long? Because it adds so much of immersion to the virtual race car feeling. For sure, it has its price, and it literally costs a little bit more than my current wheelbase, but you get a lot of, let's say, entertainment and fun with the product, and you just feel by every little detail you see in the wheel that it has been created by people who love sim racing the same way we do, even maybe a bit more. So for me, it's the perfect, let's say, addition of my sim rig, and I changed also my wheelbase from a Fanatec one to the Simucube 2 Pro, and this adds so much of fun to my racing, and I even see that in the lap times from time to time, which is also quite nice. So I have a lot of fun, and you should see the same. So I have kind of a close-up here so that you can see the wheel in action, and I will leave you alone with the original, let's say, sounds of my race car, so that you get a feel on how it feels even for me while racing it. I can tell you guys, this makes so much fun on the racetrack. I really love this wheel. So yeah, maybe it's not a surprise. The benchmarking or the test result in the section Fun Factor will provide you 5 out of 5 racing hearts. That means it's, if I could, I would even give 6 racing hearts here, because it's really adding so much immersion to your, let's say, sim racing experience. I never would have thought that, but it really makes the difference here. So if we come now to the final result of the whole review. So I have to admit, the wheel is kind of pricey for sure. As I said before, it costs maybe as much as my wheelbase, but in addition you will receive a piece of sim racing hardware that is really setting the benchmark. I have never seen a wheel like that before, and yeah, it just makes fun to drive it. So now it's up to you to also join the GSI club. If you have questions about this review, just drop me a note in the comments and I will be answering them. And if you have liked what you saw, then please give it a like button to help me with the YouTube algorithm. And if you have not done it, you can support my, let's say, new channel in a way to subscribe to it. That would help me a lot. And then you will be notified if there are new videos around. So thank you for watching and keep racing. We will see us next time on the racetrack. Bye.